Hello everyone, you're welcome to this tutorial. So in this video we want to look at conditional formatting, and by definition conditional formatting actually in Excel it means that you are able to change the color, the icon or whatever of a particular cell or a group of cells if they actually meet a particular condition. Now, for those of us who may not be very aware what formatting is, let me just enter a text here. Let me just say this text is example. And here I say examples. And here I say exemplify. Alright. Now, I may decide to change the feel, the cell filling of this particular place. This is called the fill color. Okay, so if I click here, the color of this changes while these other ones remain unchanged. I may come here and I'll say, okay, let me change the font color to red, and I may come here and say, okay, let me change the font size to 16. Now these three have been formatted in different ways. Yes, I applied the formatting one after the other. Okay, but in conditional formatting we say, okay, if this particular cell meets this condition, maybe we say fill it with red or whatever color. If this other one meets this condition, change the what is it called now, the font color to this, and this other one, if it meets this condition, change the font size to this. So that's basically what conditional formatting does. We take a particular cell and we say, or take a particular group of cells and we say anyone that meets this condition, format them this way. Maybe fill the cells or change their font color or whatever. So that's what we do in conditional formatting. There are several types. We could highlight the cells just if they meet a condition. We could highlight the cells if they using a formula. I will explain this in details. We could say, okay, these are all examples of conditional formatting. We could say, okay, the top values, the least values, that's top and bottom rules. We could also say, okay, if there's a duplicate value, please format that. We could also use what we call data bars, color scales, and icon sets. We're going to all look at that in this video and subsequent videos in conditional formatting. So let's start with the first one, highlighting cells. Let me go to the very beginning. So in this case, we want to the steps are here. You can just take a look at it if you once you have this data sheet. Okay, however, how do we do this? Let me quickly just go straight to the example. Now I want to highlight products that are grains and prices that are less than 500. So we want to say, we come to this product column and we say every product that is a grain, highlight it for us, whatever it's the color we choose, that will appear here. Highlight products that are grains, and also if there is a price, we also come to the amount column and we say any price that is greater than 500, also highlight that. Is it greater? Okay, less than 500, we highlight that. So let's start. So the first step in applying conditional formatting, you select the cells that you want to format, the range of cells. Okay, so this stops here. Once you have done selecting, you come over here, make sure that you are in your home tab, and then you go to your styles group, and under styles you go to your conditional formatting, click on that, and then you see all these options. We're going to work on all this. We're going to see how all these are used. Now we want to highlight cells that contain grain. So I say highlight. This is greater than, that's not what I'm looking for. Less than, no. Between, no. Equal to, no. Text that contains, that's what I need. So I click on that and it gives me this option. It says, is it dairy you want? It's actually selecting dairy because dairy is the first item or the first entry in this group of cells. Okay, so I delete that and I say what I want is actually grain. In fact, the moment you begin to type it, it looks for something that matches with that, but if you type something wrong, it doesn't match anything with it. So grain, and then I select the color I want. If I want a light red fill with dark red text, fine. If I want to change it to something else, yellow fill with, what is it called, dark yellow text, whatever you want. So let me use the yellow fill with dark yellow text, and then I say okay, and right there and then we see that all products that are grains have been highlighted. But that's not all. We're also going to highlight cells that are less than 500. So I come here, and remember that's the first step. You select every cell that you want to format. Then you come to your home tab, styles group, and then you click on conditional formatting. Since we are highlighting, we go to highlight, and we say less than. So this is our less than. We click on less than. It gives us a figure automatically, but that's not what we are using, so we cancel it, and we say less than 500. Right as you are typing that, it immediately begins to fill. No one is less than 5, a few are less than 50, and then it selects all that are less than 500, and it still gives you the option light, red, fill, blah blah blah. You make the choice and you click OK, and that is that. Why this is helpful is that at a glance you will see what you're actually looking for. Okay, you will see just at a glance without having to go through everything one after the other. Just at a glance you see how many cells or which particular cells meet that condition. Okay, let's go to this other one where we talk about using formulas. Okay, you want to use a particular formula to conditionally format this. Now in this past example, we only selected the cells we only highlighted the cells that meet the condition. In this other example, we would want to select the entire row that meets that condition. You can do that, but since I was actually applying two different conditions to two different two different columns, I didn't need to do that. So in this case, I would want to highlight the entire row that meets a particular condition. If one of the entries meets the condition, then the entire row will be selected, or if two of them meet the condition, the entire row will be selected. So the example we have here says highlight rows where the price of dairy is greater than $25,000 and the price for grain is greater than $30,000. Whether the sales, okay, the amount of sales, okay, greater than $25,000 for dairy and greater than $30,000 for grain. So what we do, I will select all entries. All right, Control Shift down arrow key to select everything, and here we are using formulas. So I'll go to my home tab, styles group, and conditional formatting. Now I'm not going to be using highlighting, even though it's going to do that and all that, but I'm applying a rule. I want to use a formula. So I go to new rule, click on that, and it brings me here. There are several options here. Format all cells based on their values. Format only cells that contain blah blah blah. I don't want all that. What I want is use a formula to determine which cells to format. So I click on that, and immediately it changes all the options here. So I will click on this just to minimize the box, so I can just have a small window where I can just enter what I want. So remember the example, dairy is greater than 25,000 and grain is greater than 30,000. So I will use the AND function here because we are dealing with this and this, two conditions. So AND bracket dairy, so I will select the first cell in the dairy column, this greater than 25,000, and I also come here, grain greater than 30,000, and then I close my bracket, enter, and now it's asking me how do you want to format it. I come to my format and I have several options. Let me start with the font. I would want the font to be bold, and I want the font color to be black. I would also want it to have a feel. Okay, I want to fill it up. I want to have it to have a feeling. Okay, so I would want to fill it in with, let's say, orange color. Okay, and once I say okay, it gives me a preview of what it's going to look like, and then I click on okay. Whoa, there seems to be a problem. It has selected, it actually filled and formatted every cell in the table, but that's not what I want. So what actually is the problem? I'm going to show us. So let me undo this and start all over again. I select the entire table or entries that I want to format. Home tab, styles group, conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula to determine which cells to format. I click on that, and then I minimize this. And then since I want to format where dairy is greater than 25,000 and grain is greater than 30,000, I start with my AND function, and I come here and I say dairy greater than 25,000 and grain greater than 30,000. Now if you observed closely, immediately I clicked on the cells. For example, when I said dairy, that's C15, it filled in something else. In front, or should I say just before the C, I have a dollar sign, and just before the 15 I have a dollar sign. Now remember, I clicked only, or I selected only the first cells. Now since I am applying the formula to the entire table and I selected only the first cells, what Excel will do is that it is going to fill in the remaining formula. It's going to fill in whatever formula I fill in the first cell. It will fill it in all the other cells for me. So however the formula appears here, it is going to fill it in here. Now there is what we call referencing in Excel. Referencing is this: whatever formula I fill here, Excel will try to assume that I would want to modify it and also fill it in for all this. For example, if there is no dollar sign here, okay, if there is none here, and let me also remove this and this, what Excel will do is, for C15 it will apply this formula. For C16, for the next cell, Excel will either just increase each of the entries. It will change C to D and 15 to 16 in certain cases. Sometimes it will just leave the C and just change only 15 to 16 in some cases. Also for the E, it could change E to F and 15 to 16. And the more you go down, that's how each of those entries change. However, I don't want to guess what Excel will do. I want to tell it what it should do. So if initially Excel automatically filled in the dollar sign. Now the dollar sign means that it is going to keep referencing back to C15. C and 15 will be permanent. That kind of referencing is called absolute referencing. So when it is applying the formula to C15, it is going to say, is C15 greater than 25,000? Yes, it will format it. It will now come to C16, but since it is absolute referencing, it will still ask itself, is C15 greater than 25,000? Yes, it will format it. When it comes to C17, this is absolute referencing. It will still ask itself, it's C15 greater than 25,000? Yes, it will format it. And so on and so forth. The same thing will apply to E15 and all the cells underneath. However, all I want Excel to do is keep the C permanent and the E permanent, but change the row numbers. Keep the column name permanent, but the row numbers, change them as I go down the row. So I will leave the dollar sign in front of C and remove the dollar sign in front of 15. Leave the dollar sign in front of E, remove the dollar sign in front of 15. So what I'm telling Excel is, once you're in C15, do this. Once you go to C16, keep C there and move the other one to 16. Change it and so on and so forth. So if I do this, it is now going to apply this formula as I want it to. It will no longer select the entire cells as we saw in the last case. So I hit my enter and then I format. First of all, I would want it to have a field orange, and my color should be bold, or sorry, my font should be bold, and the color should be black. Automatic is black already, but let me just make sure of that. And once I hit my OK and OK, I see that it applies it as I want it to. I get the result that I want to. So let's just check the ones that are not selected. The ones that are selected first, we see here greater than 25,000, greater than 30,000 accepted, greater than 25, greater than 30, greater than 25, less than 30. So it left that entire row without formatting it. Greater than 25, less than 30, it left the entire row, and so on and so forth. Alright, so that is how we use formulas to apply conditional formatting. In the next video, we are going to look at highlighting the top and bottom values, and the next thing will be, sorry about that, and then finding duplicate values of numbers. In the meantime, thank you so much. I hope you I didn't give in any exercises here. Okay, there are exercises. Oh, beautiful. So look at this exercise, practice it. There is also an exercise once you get sheet, practice the exercise. Okay, there is no exercise there. I'll fill it in when you get the sheet. You can practice it immediately you get it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Bye.